Hello YouTube family and friends, Aubrey here from It's the Reads, and I am here with another Mommy Monday episode. So this week's Mommy Monday topic is all about being a new mommy and some of the challenges that I personally have faced as a new mother and what I have done to overcome some of those challenges. One of the reasons that I wanted to do this video is because I really think that sharing is caring. I think that it can be really helpful to share topics like this, especially for expecting mothers or for new moms who are maybe going through a little bit of a rough time, and just to know that there's someone out there dealing with the same types of things can be really helpful. So to give you a little bit of an idea of how this video is going to go, I'm just going to go through like 5 or 6 things that I specifically struggled with as a new mom, and then after I go through those few things, I'm going to go back and say the specific ways that I overcame those challenges. Okay guys, so I'm going to jump right in, and I'm going to be using my phone kind of as a notepad to help me keep track of what I'm saying, so I hope you guys don't mind me looking back and forth between my phone. One of the things that I struggled with as a new mommy specifically was getting Nicholas latched on in the very early stages of breastfeeding. Another thing that I struggled with also has to do with breastfeeding, and it was adjusting to him being dependent on me, basically for survival. It was very overwhelming to me to know that I had this little person that depended on me for nourishment, and you know, when babies are first born, they feed a lot. This was something that I really struggled with in the beginning stages. I also struggled, you guys, with breastfeeding in public. Are you all seeing a pattern here? Breastfeeding was something that I really had to adjust to as a new mommy. Other than breastfeeding, I also struggled with a little bit of resentment towards Matt. Now, it was nothing that Matt had done specifically. This has to do with me and how I was feeling and how I had to learn to cope. Him getting to go to work every day. At first, this was very hard for me to deal with, and I'll go more into it later, but I was very resentful of the fact that Matt got to have this freedom that I thought at the time I didn't have. And the last thing that I struggled with as a new mommy was being very tired, and as a result of that, being mean towards Matt, unfortunately, but the two went hand in hand. It's something that I learned about myself. I already knew that when I get hungry, I can be very mean, but as a new mom, I realized that when I am tired, I can also be really mean. So I mentioned that one of the first things I struggled with was getting Nicholas to get latched on well while he was breastfeeding. So what are some of the things that I did to help me overcome this challenge? Well, number one, I surrounded myself with people who wanted me to succeed at breastfeeding. So Matt, he was very encouraging. My mom, she breastfed me and my sister, so she was there to offer her words of encouragement and advice. I took a breastfeeding support class. It was a class that was offered by the hospital where I delivered Nicholas. I went to this class for 6 weeks, and I went for 1 day out of every week, so a total of 6 times. There were lactation consultants, and they offered advice. They also weighed Nicholas and other babies there so that moms could make sure that the babies were gaining weight and doing well. And this made so much of a difference, going to this breastfeeding support class, because I essentially was put right in a situation where I surrounded myself with other moms who were struggling with the exact same thing, and I could see them improving and getting better at it and going through the same stages as I was, and that really encouraged me to keep breastfeeding and not give up. The second thing I mentioned was adjusting to this realization that Nicholas was very dependent on me for his nourishment and for survival. This became very overwhelming to me. The thing that helped me the most was also that breastfeeding support class. When I went to that class, maybe it was the second week I had gone, I went into the class, and there was a mom there who had twins, you guys. She had 2 babies, and she was feeding both of them. And at that point I realized, you know, she's here and she is doing wonderfully, feeding her 2 babies. And if she can do it, I certainly can do it with Nicholas. He's just 1 baby. I was very lucky to have other friends who have had children recently and who had children after me. So talking with them about it and their adjustment to breastfeeding really helped me move past some of the doubts I was having about the situation. I realized that Nicholas is only going to be so small for such a short time in his life. And so I need to make the most of not just, breastfeeding him and enjoying those moments with him, but just these stages of him being young in general. He's not always going to need me the way he needs me now. All right, so breastfeeding in public. I've had so many, I don't know, what I see as awkward situations being in public and trying to feed Nicholas. Something that I realized was that I have more control over being comfortable in breastfeeding in public than I realized. Say, for example, I want to go out to eat with Matt, we want to go out with Nicholas and enjoy a meal somewhere at a restaurant. Something that I've learned to do is look for a table in the restaurant that is going to be comfortable for you to sit in. So whether that means your back will be turned to the other people in the restaurant, or you're more in a corner, or you're in a booth, ask the host or hostess to seat you somewhere where you're going to be comfortable breastfeeding. Another thing I had to do was try some different covering options. So I have a breastfeeding infinity scarf, and I used that for a while. I have another little thing that is something you can put over your chest and your baby, and it has like a wire that allows you to look down and so you can see the baby. So that's something that I tried using, and then in the end, what I really just ended up doing was either just more often when I would go out wearing a loose t-shirt and lifting my t-shirt up while I was feeding Nicholas, or if I didn't want to wear a t-shirt, say I wanted to wear like something with straps or something that's strapless, I would just go ahead and get Nicholas latched on and then use just a small burp cloth to cover the part of my chest that is exposed so that he can still feed and I'm not getting hot and you're worried about flashing people and stuff like that. I was very resentful of the fact that Matt got to leave the house every day and go to work. This was totally all about me, nothing he was doing, so I don't want you guys to think of it that way. It was something that I had to learn to deal with. And so how I got over this was really time, and then also a mentality shift. First of all, I had to realize that I, very much wanted this baby, and this was something that we decided we wanted as a family. We wanted to have a baby, and realizing that because of that, I now have the responsibility, and being very fortunate that I can stay at home and take care of Nicholas and not necessarily have to work outside of the home. Not that there's anything wrong with being a mom who works outside of the home and also takes care of the children after work. There's nothing wrong with that. That's not what I'm saying at all. But I realized that I'm very fortunate that I can do what I want to do in the sense that I can stay home with Nicholas. Another thing I had to do was just get out of the house. Early on, I was nervous about leaving the house with the baby because I was like, what's going to happen? I don't know what happens if he starts crying, But, I got out of the house and I realized that, Nicholas can be soothed if he gets a little fussy, and if all else fails, you can leave wherever you're at and go back home. But it's important to get outside, whether it's just stepping outside on the porch or taking a walk down the street to the park or going to the grocery store. It doesn't have to be something elaborate. Visiting with other mommies, socializing with other people wherever I was at. But that's something that helped me to regain my freedom and realize that I have more freedom than I think that I do. And also talking with Matt about how I was feeling, and talking with him really helped me to see, his side of the picture, that, going to work every day isn't as freeing as I was making it out to be. By going to work every day and supporting us, which I'm so happy that he does, and I love him so much, but, he doesn't get to be with Nicholas every day and see him grow and develop, in the way that I do. He misses out on some of those things, or has to catch up and see those things when he gets home or on the weekends. The last thing I struggled with was being tired, and as a result of that, I would be mean to Matt sometimes. Matt being the closest person in my life, being my partner and my spouse, I had to go back and apologize to him and tell him that I was sorry and that I am going to work towards being better at this, getting tired thing. So one of the ways that I overcame this was, learning to sleep when the baby sleeps. Everybody tells you that when you have the baby. Sleep when the baby sleeps. And you sometimes don't do it because there's, you realize that you have a little bit of time on your hands when the baby sleeps, so you might want to get on the computer or something, or you might feel like you need to clean or cook a meal. No, take the time to rest, even if it just means, relaxing on the couch. I really don't want that to become a habit, and I don't want it to be something that Nicholas sees in me. So just take a nap. But it looks like Nicholas is waking up from his nap, you guys. So I'm gonna go ahead and end the video. I am still not perfect. I'm still working to be a better person and still very much learning to be a good mommy for Nicholas and a good wife for Matt. And I'm just going to keep working at it, and as I encounter new challenges, I will record more videos about them and post them up to YouTube for Mommy Monday. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to put them down in the comment section. If you have any suggestions for Mommy Monday that you would like to see, please also put those down in the comment section. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. And if you're not subscribed, please subscribe. And we will see you next time on It's the Reads. Mommy Mondays are on Monday and vlogs are on Tuesday. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you next time. Bye-bye.